good, Commanders fans? I'm not home, so the my sound may not sound the best. So just bear with me, guys, on this one. But day 4 of training camp, fans were there today for the first time, so that's exciting. Super, super lit. 3,000 fans. There was one person that got there at 4:30 a.m. Somebody drove from Massachusetts. So it just shows how strong of a fan base we have for Commanders Nation, man. I definitely wish I could make it out this year. I went, did I go last year? I'm trying to remember the last time I went. I know I went a couple of years ago, and then I went to the open practice. I didn't go to training camp. So I haven't been to training camp in a little while, but I definitely got to make it back out there, especially since it's in Ashburn now, which is not super far like Richmond. When I went to Richmond a couple of years ago, it was like 2 hours, 3 hours away from me. But all right, let's get to the football. It's lit to see just like the fans wrapped around the whole facility like that, man. That's super, super lit, man. There was no parking passes left or anything like that. Tickets sold out, so you can see the hype is there for the new regime and Jaden Daniels for sure, and just ready for a new season for sure. So that's exciting, man. Gotta love this fan base for sure. Let's talk about, let's do the play-by-play here real quick, and then I got some news and notes. Andrew Wylie, he should be back out there tomorrow. A lot of the beat reporters were saying that he was just not out there much, or he has not been out there much. He did say that he's been experiencing some tightness, and he should be back out there tomorrow. So we'll see what happens with Andrew Wylie. He is supposed to be the starting right tackle. I know Brandon Coleman got a good amount of snaps starting at right tackle. He's got some snaps starting with the first team at right tackle and a left tackle here and there. So Cornelius Lucas was starting at right tackle, and Brandon Coleman was at left tackle to start out today. So that's very interesting. Like I said, you don't want to take too much stock in early training camp practices, but we'll see. I know the kicker was pretty bad today too, so I'll talk about that. I know, and if you guys tell me what you guys saw if you were there, comment down below and just see if there was anything that stood out to you guys for sure. But we'll start off with punt returners. Emmanuel Forbes did fumble a punt. I don't want him returning punts anyway. I think it should be Jameson Crowder. I don't really think there's any competition for him. Kaz Allen muffs punts, and Dax Milne just doesn't provide you much. As a punt returner, he doesn't muff punts, but he doesn't flip the field. He doesn't give you any field advantage, no shiftiness, no making anybody miss. Just, he's a straight line kind of guy. I mean, he kind of does have a little wiggle to him. I did see him in that Ravens joint practice, but I was there in person for the Ravens joint practice last year, and he actually did a really good job on one-on-ones. I'll give Dax Milne credit for that. But as a punt returner, he's just not making anybody miss. Like he'll field the punt and that's it. I mean, there is stock in that. Like, I'm not gonna act like that's a terrible thing. Like, he doesn't muff punts. Like, that's one thing I'll give him. He doesn't muff punts. We've had guys like Steven Sims muff punts all the time, or a couple of times, and put us in really bad position and make us lose games. That's what we saw from Steven Sims. But Jameson Crowder, I think he's a really good punt returner. I like him a lot as a punt returner. And Dax Milne was returning punts. Kaz Allen, Demir Byrd, Jahan Dotson, and Emmanuel Forbes. Emmanuel Forbes did fumble a punt per Chris Russell. All right. Dan Quinn did say rookie linebacker Jordan McGee has rare speed and a ton of burst. He's off to an excellent start. So we heard nothing but good things about Jordan McGee. He's going to get a lot of playing time. And then going back to the offensive line, Zach Selby said Cornelius Lucas was starting at right tackle, Brandon Coleman at left tackle. So that is interesting. Like I said, Andrew Wylie should be back tomorrow. But seeing Brandon Coleman out there starting at left tackle and then Cornelius Lucas at right tackle. Cornelius Lucas he's a swing tackle, so we've seen him play both tackle spots. And then you got Trent Scott out there a couple times too. Sam Cosmi, of course, at right guard. But yeah, we'll talk about offensive line throughout the season, throughout training camp for sure. But good to see the young guy, Brandon Coleman, get a lot of snaps and a lot of experience out there in training. We got a really nice catch by Armani Rogers. Zach Selby said the team had some really high hopes for him before his injury. We'll see if he can recapture some of that interest. So it's good to see Armani Rogers as well getting some action there. We have not heard a lot from Ben Sinnott so far, but there was some Ben Sinnott talk. But back to Armani Rogers, I think he can help this team. I already made a video talking about the tight end position. Like, are they going to keep 3 or 4 guys? Of course, it's going to be Ben Sinnott, it's going to be Zach Ertz and John Bates. But kind of like after that, who is it going to be? Are they going to keep Cole Turner? Are they going to keep Armani Rogers? That's a battle there. Like, who are they going to keep between those two guys? And then other than that, it's like, what's the guy who was 6'8"? I can't remember the guy's name, but he made the team last year. He shouldn't have made the team. I can't remember the guy's name. But between Armani Rogers and Cole Turner, that's really who's battling for that 4th spot if they do keep 4 tight ends. So keep an eye on those two guys, Cole Turner and Armani Rogers. But Armani Rogers, he's the one guy, he's one of the few guys on the roster that does have yak ability at the tight end position, that does have some wheels to him and does have some speed to him for sure. So I do like Armani Rogers. It was unfortunate with that Achilles injury that he had last year. Also, a really nice grab from Jaden Daniels to Ben Sinnott. The ball was a little behind him, but Sinnott still managed to haul it in. So good to hear that Ben Sinnott has made a catch, because Linnell Willingham said that one guy who's been relatively quiet with a few drops throughout the first 4 days is Ben Sinnott. And so Ben Sinnott has not played well the first couple days, but it's early as training camp. And I still think he's going to be super, super talented. Even though he hasn't played well, apparently, through the first couple days, I still think he's a guy that can make an impact. We talk about yak. He's a guy that can really make some yards off after contact for sure. He's a good blocker, has some good wheels to him, some good speed, very athletic, very strong guy. So there's a lot of high hopes for Ben Sinnott. But, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to overreact to 3 days of training camp. But he has been relatively quiet. Like, I'm looking at updates, and I hear about Luke McCaffrey, I hear about Michael Sandry still, of course, Jaden Daniels, and all the other rookies like Jordan McGee. But Ben Sinnott, we haven't really heard much at all. So we finally hear something about him today. So he did make a nice catch. Tyreek Castro Fields running with Emmanuel Forbes at outside corner on first team defense. So they are rotating guys in. Tyreek Castro Fields has had a good camp so far. He had a couple nice pass breakups so far, and he's running with the one. So Emmanuel Forbes with the one starting, Ben St. Juste rotating in there, Michael Davis rotating in there. So Tyreek Castro Fields, remember, he was drafted by Adam Peters. So just keep an eye on that. Maybe he's feeling very confident since the guy that drafted him, or that had a hand in drafting him is there with the organization now. Jaden Daniels escapes down the left sideline, gets a roar from the fan base as he sprints for a big gain. I think I do have a video. Shout out to the people who recorded that. Their name is on the video, so shout out to them. Make sure you guys follow them on Twitter. They're the ones that recorded it and posted it on Twitter, so shout out to them and their podcast as well. Make sure you guys subscribe to their podcast, their videos, all that good stuff for sure. Now, Linnell also said rough start to the 11 versus 11 for Jaden Daniels. He's been high on a few throws. Let's see how he bounces back. And then Mitchell Tinsley, man, he's been balling, man. He has been balling. He made a great catch on 7-on-7. He kept both his feet in bounds with tight coverage from Davion Davis. So Mitchell Tinsley, I talk about him every video. Like, he's a guy I really want to see make the roster. If not the roster, then the practice squad. I want to see him on this team. I think he's very talented. I always say we don't need really 7 receivers. I would keep 6. But, looking at the roster, it's going to be, of course, Terry, Jahan, Luke, Jamison Crowder, probably Olamide Zaccheaus, and then probably, so that's 5 right there, right? And then it's really between Diami and Mitchell. Rosemy Jack Saint, we haven't heard much from him ever since he suffered an injury. Some people say that he suffered an injury in minicamp. I didn't see it, but that's what people have told me. And then you got Damiere Byrd out there too. But Mitchell Tinsley, man, he's kind of turning into a Cam Sims kind of guy. So I do want to see him make plays in games. Cam Sims did make plays in games, so I'm not going to disrespect Cam Sims. But I think Mitchell Tinsley, I do want to see him actually get some playing time in the games. He should make the roster. I think he's good enough to be on an NFL roster. It's just we got to see him do it in actual games. He hasn't really got much of an opportunity to do it yet. But he's so talented. He's going to have another really good He's going to have another one of those games where he has like 60 yards, 5 catches and a touchdown, or 80 yards and five catches and a touchdown. Like, that's how talented he is. Zach Selby also said lots of movement on the O-line. Coleman playing at both right and left tackle. Michael Dieter getting reps at left guard, so he's battling Nick Allegretti for the starting left guard spot. Trent Scott getting reps at left tackle as well. Jamin Davis rotating at edge with the first team for the first time in training camp. I talked about that yesterday, where Jamin Davis has been running with the 3s and the 2s and guys fighting to make a roster spot. He has also been on punt special teams as well, so keep an eye on that. I think he'll make the roster, but there's some people like Craig Hoffman who has said that he's on the roster bubble, that he may not make the roster. So just keep an eye on that. That would be rough if your first-round pick gets cut in, this is his 4th year in the league? So that'd be rough. I know it's not this regime's first-round pick, but still, just the organization as a whole. Jaden Daniels takes quarterback reps in 7-on-7. First 2 attempts were off target. Apparent miscommunication with routes. Daniels completes next 3 passes, all underneath. Mariota next sideline throw completed thanks to an excellent body control adjustment catch by Mitchell Tinsley. So his name is heard again. He caught this on Castro Fields. Castro Fields made a nice pass breakup on Mitchell Tinsley on another play. So Tyree Castro Fields making plays again and again. Caillou Blue Kelly picks off Marcus Mariota, targeting Terry McLaurin on the play. So Marcus Mariota, like I talked about, his stock is going down and down. He just has not played well so far in practice, and he throws an interception to Caillou Blue Kelly. Caillou Blue Kelly is a guy who's like he's fighting to make a roster spot. He's another guy who's just fighting to make a roster spot. So he throws an interception to him. Jaden Daniels Sharper, as practice continues per Ben Standing, ripped a sideline throw to Bryson Tremaine in sevens. Came back in 11s and hit Terry McLaurin in stride up the seam. 17 got some yak after the grab. So Jaden Daniels playing better and better as practice goes along. He did have that nice run and that nice scamper up the field. So that was nice to hear about and see that as well. Ben Sinnott made a nice catch in traffic. I think I talked about that a little bit earlier. Quan Martin has been balling so far. So Quan Martin, per Chris Russell, was just a heat-seeking missile in the flat on a shovel pitch toss to Alston Eckler. Maybe would have been a missed tackle, but read it and likely would have been blown up. So Quan Martin, he had the second half of the year last year, he had the interception on Mac Jones to end the game, to that clutch interception. He had a couple good plays against Dallas. Man, that last game, even though we got blown out, he played well in that game. So Quan Martin is a guy that I think can have a sophomore leap for sure and have a breakout season. He's so talented. He can play corner, safety, come up and play a little bit of hybrid linebacker, safety a little bit. So he's a chess piece, man. I'm excited to see how they use him in this defense. He has a knack for forcing turnovers too. All right, Nikki Javala says Andrew Wylie has hardly been used at right tackle in team. Commanders still need a kicker, but we knew that. And the pre-snap penalties on the O-line are alarming. Happy day 4 of training camp, everyone. So don't panic about that. But she's just saying Andrew Wylie has hardly been used. We talked about this earlier where Andrew Wylie is suffering from some tightness. So we'll see. This is probably going to be Andrew Wylie's last year in with the Commanders. We'll see if he has a better year than last year. And he wasn't awful, but we saw some times where he got beat by a spin move against the Cardinals. Like there were some times where he just got beat by spin moves and guys who were just quicker than him a couple times that we saw last year. But the kicking situation and the offensive line penalties, they got time to clean that up. All right, Bleeding BNG, shout out to Jalen. He said Quan Martin and Jeremy Chin pretty much been the starting safety tandem throughout. So Jeremy Chin, he's going to get a lot of playing time. Derek Forrest, I haven't heard much about him at all. So just keep an eye on that. And then he also said Mitchell Tinsley just bagged Mike Davis. OMG. So Mitchell Tinsley has been a star. He was a star today, apparently. He was a star. And then he also says offense just be the defense with a perfect play call. Bobby Wagner comes screaming free on a blitz. Jaden Daniels gets the ball out and hits Jahan Dotson on the middle screen. So good to see that Jahan Dotson hung onto the football today. He's so talented. So I was talking about him dropping that pass yesterday. I'm not gonna rag on him too much, but we did see some drops from him last year for sure. All right, Sam 48 says kicking situation is a growing concern in Commanders camp. Ramiz Ahmed with his second right goal post doink in as many days. So we got to sign a kicker. We got to get some more competition in here. Apparently Ramiz Ahmed is just not that guy. Still too early to say, but we just don't have time for that. We don't have time for guys missing kicks and doinking them and stuff like that. So we just don't have time for it. So, all right, but that's about it for today, guys. The linebacker core has looked really good so far in practice. Mitchell Tinsley balling, Quan Martin balling, Jaden Daniels looking fast. It had a nice zone read, made a couple nice passes to Mitchell Tinsley and Terry McLaurin today as well. Jahan Dotson, so that's good to see. Ben Sinnott finally woke up. And then Brandon Coleman getting some starter reps as well. Let's see if Andrew Wylie comes back and looks good tomorrow in practice. So I know fans will be there as well, so I'm excited for that. But overall, it looks like they got some stuff to work on. This is the time to work on stuff anyway. This is what practice is for. But yeah, that's really it with the update on Andrew Wylie. Let me see if there's another update on Andrew Wylie here real quick that I can find. So no, that's really it. Yeah, tightness. I already said that. Tightness, so that's limited him. Did not see him anywhere teamwork today. So all right, guys, that's about it. Team USA did win today. LeBron did get the over on the half a point. So make sure, like I said, check out Prize Picks. And definitely we'll be watching the Olympics throughout for sure, all the sports. So you guys let me know what you guys think about today in practice. Held to Commanders. Peace.